gosh.
Good.
Like that?
Close enough.
Okay, and you said 5
That's
of those?
5 cups.
So I'm at 2.
Okay.
So push it down like this?
Yeah. You don't go too deep because if you do, it'll make a hole in it. That's perfect. Perfect, sorry.
3.
That's really perfect. 4.
More perfect.
Flour it myself. And then
That'll work. Yeah.
5. Okay.
That's close enough for that. Okay?
Okay.
That'll work for that one. We'll put this away. We'll get it out of our way for the moment. Let's see. You got
Here.
pictures over there.
That's okay. Put it on this side here.
Now we want sugar in there. And
I love that these are Grandma's cups. I recognize
Yeah.
those cups.
Yeah, really, yeah. Okay. And tablespoon's a tablespoon, all right. It takes 3 tablespoons of sugar, okay? And you want to make sure it's level full. 1, 2, and 2 of them go in here. 1 goes in here, and you put your yeast with that. And you're going to have to go to Costco and get some yeast because you're going to make, for a long time, buy a big block, okay? You'll have to go to Costco, and it's a lot of yeast. Actually, what I'm doing is kind of making it a little weird for you.
A little weird.
Yeah. Well, I can't. I could have you do it, but you know what this is. Okay, that's a level yeast.
So a tablespoon of sugar and a tablespoon of yeast.
Yes, that's to make the yeast develop.
Right.
Otherwise it won't. Okay. When you get you an old jar that you can put the yeast in once you, because it comes in a bag and it won't off.
Uh-oh.
It ain't nobody.
Okay.
It never is.
Okay.
That dumb phone, I should just take it out because all it gets stuff on there that I don't need. Okay.
Okay.
Now we need salt in there. And now this is difficult because I don't know. The others are tablespoons and measurable. But this is something that I've done by dump and pour, and you're just going to have to watch it, okay? And I just take it like this, and I make a pile of salt, peek it like that. See, that's an inch and a half.
Camera, Daddy?
That's an inch and a half. Can you see it?
Here, let me.
That's what it is. That's how much salt. And I have no idea how much that is.
Hand up next to Papa's for a second.
Can you do
so
that?
You can see a
You see where I'm coming from?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, that's how much salt goes in there. Let me just make sure I get it off my hand. Okay, that's how much salt it is. Now, there's a couple of things that I do that you're not going to, there's no way I can measure it because I just don't measure it, okay? Now, what did I do with the, I guess I didn't get it out. I thought I did, but I didn't. Yeah, I did. What did I do with it?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
You hit it on
I
yourself.
hit it. Okay, this has got, you know, just put that on there so I don't lose it. I gotta put it in there. Anyway, while I'm doing that, I gotta do this too. Get some coffee. Okay, now I want you to feel the water temperature because this is, you want to get it, it's not there yet, but I'll tell you when it's about right. Feel it now, it's starting to get warm. Okay, you don't want it real hot. Okay, that's how hot you want it. Go ahead. Can you feel it?
Yeah,
That's
too
how hot.
hot.
You don't want it too
kills
hot,
the
you'll
yeast,
kill the
right?
yeast.
Yeah.
And I want exactly a cup. Okay, here's a cup of water. All right. Now we're getting a spoon, and I always just stir it. Get it started stirring so that it's swirling, Then I pour it right in the middle, so that it all goes in there slowly, but all the way. Okay, now it goes all the way to the bottom. Now I want it to be sure and get some. Now that's developing, okay? We'll let that set aside. This goes back in here. Need that. Now comes the olive oils next. Okay, now this, I always take and stir this with a wire whip. Now, this kind of lightens up your dough a little bit, and it mixes all the salt and the sugar and everything in there together. It's just salt and sugar. Now I'll write all this down too, so that you can go home and say, oh yeah, now. But I want you to see. Now I just take it like this. I just make 2 spots like that in it.
Okay, I'm gonna peek up here into the bowl.
Just make 2 spots with it. It'll be that much, and you wait a minute, and I'll show you the rest of it. Right away. Okay. Now we're putting in olive oil in. Now this too, I have no idea how much this is, but this is how much I put in there. There's about a tablespoon there. About a tablespoon there. That's a little more, and this is a little less, I think. Okay, that's about right. Okay, that's how much it is. You just gotta say, well,
go with it.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, when you make it, if it's not right the first time, adjust it a little bit. You know what I mean? And as long as you know what it is. And I'm going to give you my old one.
Oh.
You're going to get a mixer from me.
Oh, yay.
What do you think of that idea?
I think it's
Okay.
awesome.
I'm gonna peek
See
at
this? Look at this. See how that's developing? Get that warm water and the sugar and the yeast, it just goes like crazy. It's really getting soft and nice. Perfect. Now comes the buttermilk. This is what makes your bread taste good. Right here is buttermilk. If you have regular milk, you can put about 2 tablespoons of vinegar in your regular milk, and it'll come out similar. Won't be the same, but it'll be similar. Okay. Okay, this goes up to just above. I'll show you. That's just above the 2-cup mark. See the 2-cup mark?
Yep.
It's right at the top edge of the red. Not the bottom, but the top. Okay? That's just right.
top edge of the
This top edge of the red 2-cup.
Okay.
Okay, it's the top edge of them. And we're going to stir this so that it all comes out and goes in there. Okay. Now you've got flour, sugar, and salt are your dry, and yeast is your dry. Okay, and you got olive oil and the water and buttermilk. That's it, folks.
How much was it? Was it 1 cup of water?
One cup of warm water.
Right.
And it's got to be kind of tempered, but not boiling hot.
Right.
To make sure it's actually it's about 100. What it is, it's about 110 degrees.
Okay.
It's not that'll make it work anyway.
Okay.
Okay, we're done with that. Now it's time to put it into the mixer. Now the mixer you got is not as good as this one. It's old and it might quit on you someday, but right now it works. So if it quits, if you can find somebody that can grease the bearings for you, the other one still works quite well. But don't do more than 2 loaves of bread at a time.
Okay.
Okay, I put it on speed 1 just to bring it together. Okay, that's what we're doing right now.
Speed 1.
Just to bring it together to where it's going. Once it comes together, then we speed it up a little bit more. And I've taken butter and put in here because that's where I'm going to put it afterwards.
Butter in the bowl.
Butter in the bowl. I always use butter for my lubricant. I never put flour on the board to dust it. A lot of people do. I never do, because if you do that, what you have is flour that's not been developed, and it'll make for crummy little spots, and it'll be crummy for you. Okay, it's coming together, so I can turn it up a little bit so that it doesn't splash now. What we're doing is the kneading part of it. Okay, I get it with easily. Sugar first. Get
what number did you come up to, Daddy?
It's just on
A
2.
2?
Okay, and then I need to make sure that this is clean here. I ordered that off down. Gonna have to use it. You got your hands good and washed, right?
Yep. Do you want me to wash these in, please?
No, we're okay. But I'm gonna let you. I want you to be able to feel the dough so you know what it feels like when it's right. Okay? Okay, that's coming together pretty good. So I'm gonna put a little bit of butter on my counter. See, that's why I cleaned that off good. Okay.
You kind of
Ready?
grabbed it with the actual paper.
Are you ready?
Do it, yes.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Come on, off of there. It's hard to get off of there perfectly. I always take this, take a little butter and put it on my fingers. Put it on there so I can get it off of there. This is where you knead it out, okay? This feels pretty good. Feels like you did a good job putting the right amount of flour. And we got everything pretty much. I can see that it's working right. See it smoothing up? Okay, I want you to knead it. This is called kneading. I want you to do that with your hands.
Okay.
You got this, girl.
Just,
So like this, and then
pull it up.
Pull it up.
this way.
Yep, just pull it up. Just flip the outside edges in and there, that's perfect. Keep on doing it and do it again. Keep doing it until you can get it to all round out nice, okay? When you get it to round out nice, flatten it out like a little, real thick pancake, all kind of flat.
I'm not sure
No,
exactly
you're
what you
doing
mean.
fine.
I'm sorry.
That's good. Just like this will be fine.
Okay.
Just all we want to do is flatten it out to where it'll raise good. All right. We put it in there.
There's some therapy involved in baking, I'm telling you.
Oh, this is. I tell you what. I don't know how. I didn't learn this from my mom. Mom did it totally different than I did. She did. But I did learn a lot of my stuff from my mom. There's no doubt about it.
And there's
But,
some of Grandma's
okay,
love in it
now,
too, because it's all her.
That's ready to raise for 45 minutes the first time. Now, here's how I do it. I set my stove in the middle rack about there.
Oops, sorry, baby.
It's covered with that stretch tight so that it holds the moisture in.
Yeah, you don't want to get a
I
skin
hit-
on your bread.
Bake, and I hit start, and then I take it down to 170 degrees. Only until it comes up to 170 degrees. Okay, it's right at 0 right now. It's not 0, it's about 50 degrees. Okay, now you set it at 170, and all you're doing is warming the oven to 170 to raise your dough. And it raises the first time for 45 minutes. So we can sit down and listen to TV or whatever. But when it gets up to 170, then we shut it off. Otherwise, if you don't shut it off, you'll bake it at 170,
Right.
which I've done before.
Whoops. So now this is a convection, but
That
oven,
doesn't make any real
but,
difference.
Yeah. So okay, so it'll be comparable then in her regular oven.
Yeah, it should work fine in your regular oven.
Okay.
But you just bring it up to 170 degrees, then shut it off. Okay, what that does is it makes it the same temperature every time to raise it so that it gets bigger. And it'll get double the size, maybe a little more even. It just depends on how good we did about getting it perfect. Because I don't get it perfect every time. Like I say, I'm a dump and pourer. Life is hard. Okay.
Okay.
What I do, here's something that you're going to have to buy.
I have some of Grandma's that I can give her a few of.
These are
'Cause I have,
Baker's
like,
Secret.
Oh, okay.
Baker's Secret don't have to be greased.
Oh,
Grandma's did.
yeah. Grandma's do.
These don't. You can just dump the dough in there and it'll go. Now what I do is I stick them in the oven while it's getting warm in there. I want them to get warm too.
Okay.
Okay. See, it's not up to 105 yet.
Cool.
Well, it's up to 105, but it's got to go to 170 and then we shut it off and we wait.
Fun. Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And so it'll be there in a little bit. So I got the timer already set for 45 minutes for the
Once it
waiting
gets
time.
there.
It's 45 minutes for the first one, 22 minutes for everything after. That's
Okay.
22. It's 22 minutes for the second raising, 22 minutes in the pans, 22 minutes to bake. Starting at 170, you don't turn it way up. That's what's totally different. Everybody else puts it at 350 or 375 to bake it, preheats the oven. I don't. I start mine at 170 and I hit 350. It takes 12 minutes to get up to 350 and it only bakes for 10 minutes. Now it's golden brown, but it's still raw on the inside. Then I put it on the rack and I cover it with towels and let it finish baking on the counter outside the oven. And that's what makes it tender and good like you like it. Yeah, and you know what my bread tastes like, don't you?
It's very good.
I've had people go, wow, how do you do that? And that's no joke, they do. They do that all the time. 45 minutes on the top one. And just push the top one and hit start. Okay, it's going.
Cool.
So that'll tell us when it's time to do other.
Okay.
And while that's doing, I always clean up my pot and get it ready to put away because I'm all done with this. Don't take long to make it, really.
No. I think that was a total of about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes no time at all. Put it out, put new butter out. I cleaned the other up.
Okay. Okay.
Yank it out. See how much it's raised? See how much that's raised?
Wow,
Rock,
nice.
huh? Okay.
Sorry.
Good yeast.
Yeah, the yeast is working really well. Get this out of here. And that's kneaded.
So just like you did before.
Are you telling me to do that?
Go ahead.
Oh.
Knead it.
Oh, it's warm.
Mm-hmm. Bring the sides are good.
That's it. Knead it until it's half the size again. Get all the bubbles out of it.
And so
that's what
what-
you're kneading it for.
What you're doing is building up the gluten.
Yes.
So
Okay, we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to put a little more butter in here because that all absorbed onto it. Good.
do you want her to flatten it out again, Daddy, or
Just like it was.
okay? So flatten it out again. Go ahead and abuse it. Pick it up and flap it on the ground, just like Papa did. No.
Flop it on the ground and get her. Go ahead and throw it in there.
Okay. Woo! Good job.
Okay, we're ready to go. Okay,
Sweet. Saran wrap back over the top.
over the top. This is so that it doesn't dry out. This is what this is for, and it keeps it from drying.
My understanding is it's very, very susceptible to resistance. So if it forms that skin, first of all, you don't want
and
the
you
skin,
don't want that.
but it'll prevent it from actually.
We put it back in. Now this time it's 22 minutes.
Raising
Last
as
time it was
much.
45.
22 minutes for this time. All right.
It's ready to put in the
Okay,
pan.
let me see here. Okay. Did you re-butter? No, you didn't re-butter.
I buttered that.
Oh, you buttered the counter again?
Yeah. This is all done. So
Okay.
Before my brain gets it.
come on,
Okay, Kaya.
stick to the dough.
I thought Kay was making bread, honey.
Yeah, she is, but
I've kind of been assisting.
okay.
So,
This
flap
I'm going to
it.
have to do because you're going to have to just watch, and
That's
you
okay.
can do it on
Let
your
her
own.
feel it too.
I already did.
Oh, she does it.
Yeah, you can feel it now, and you'll be able to feel how soft and good.
Have her get her
Ready,
wrists
yeah.
in there. Get your wrists in there.
That's
Scrub it. Do it.
Do you want me
That's
to-
called kneading.
Do you want me to knead it or?
No,
Yeah,
no, not now.
Okay, this is the we're putting
We're
it
all
in the pans.
done. We're putting it in the
okay.
pans. We're done with that.
But he did let me knead it the first couple of
Okay.
times.
You got to knead it.
Now, I don't want to cut the counter, so I cut down to it and then I raise it up. Okay,
So this
and one goes in there.
recipe is for 2 loaves.
This is 2 loaves, and what I'm doing is I'm making the second loaf, all right? Now, I want it to be formed up, so I'm making sure all the others is in there. And you kind of got to make sure there's no bubbles in there. So what I do is I do this. This gets all the bubbles out. Hear the bubble go out? That gets the
That was
bubbles
me,
out.
excuse me.
Now you have to get it. You have to get it back together.
First case, first.
I don't know exactly how to do that.
It's right here.
It's just to make it the right size to fit in the pan, okay?
Okay. Whack.
That's a little too
Long.
it's ugly.
It's
I
ugly.
want it to be pretty, not ugly. Okay.
I'm not ugly.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming.
Did you hear that coming in your head?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. She was pretty fun.
She still is pretty fun.
Okay. We'll put the. That's not quite in the right position. Okay, I hear you. Ryan. Yard it off.
Next step.
There it is right there. Now, I take it and I separate them. And I separate it, put it apart because it's on convection. I want them to be even. Okay, there we go. And we put it on convection, which I do, start at 350. And I just start it. Now see, it's at 170 now. It's not preheated. It's starting at 170.
So you didn't do anything else, you just turned it
All
off
I did is
and it
put
stayed
the-
about 170 because you had...
Yeah, it stays because there's nothing in there. But that
Okay.
that 170 is just the right temperature for raising it. It is not. You don't want to bake it. It's
when
not.
you're raising it.
It's not real hot in there. It's too hot if you leave it on. I don't know how I ever came up with this, but I did. But I didn't like the dry bread, and everything I tried was dry and hard, and I don't like the hard crust. I like it when it's tender and good.
So say what you said again about the 22 minutes. At 22 minutes it wouldn't be done. Because I didn't get
when
that
you
part.
pull it out, it won't even be up to temperature to 350 for another 10 minutes.
Oh, uh-huh.
It'll take 10 minutes to get to 350, and then
Oh,
it'll
so-
only bake for 12 minutes at 350. The outside will be golden brown, but the inside will still be raw. It'll only be done about an inch in on each side. Because I tried cutting it one time, and that didn't work at all. But if I let it sit, then on top of it, you have to have a cake rack to keep it up off the counter, so that because the moisture will come out of it. And if you had it sitting on a counter, it'll just get soggy. That wouldn't work. You put it on a cake rack and cover it with the heavy towels. And I always put the small towel over the loaves because it's a fresh, clean one. And the other ones I use over and over, but they never ever touch the bread, so
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Right. Cool.
And
So-
that's it.
That's it. Just reached 350.
Fingers are short. That's what cracks me up.
big long fingers.
The palms are almost long enough, I know that it does it.
be in the way, but I want to get the.
If I roll.
Okay.
Am I writing for who in the
What we
car?
gotta do is we gotta get this out.
Oh, that smells like heaven. I wish there was like smell-o-vision.
Yeah, there's not gonna be any smell-o-vision here. But there will be some smell. Yeah, it looks right. Then you just pick it up and it just pops right out of there. That's why I like these pans.
And you don't spray pan in them.
You don't need to
butter 'em,
spray
no matter what
anything.
little old lady tells you to.
You don't need to.
And you don't wash them.
Don't wash them. No.
Because they're stay for bread.
There's only bread.
Don't put a meatloaf in them. I buy
Yeah, I don't.
other containers for that.
Now, I always take this one first. This is the fresh, clean one that was just out of the deal. I cover it with that first. These are the same ones I use all the time. I don't use them for anything else
You
other
said
than
you
my
use your
shower
bathtub.
first. I take my shower first.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha.
It's just that. That's why it tastes so good, because it tastes like Grandpa D's.
Ew!
I got a headache, sorry.
That's it,
Now-
folks.
Okay.
Now for
Now it's 45 minutes
Okay.
45 minutes.
before we can eat, before you can eat it.
This is called Papa's Lesson in Patience. Because you can smell it for 45 minutes before you can taste it.
That's right. No, it's torture.
Torture. Mwahahaha.
You can take that candy up now then.
Excuse me. Burp.
You're on camera.
Burp.
Any restaurant noise. Oh, yay! I'll have another drink.
Who wants the first slice?
Go ahead and go over there, Kayla.
Leon? Yes. Why do you want that open? It's in
It's a
there
little
upside down. That's, how's that up there upside down? I know what it is. It's in there turned around.
Aha.
That's why it's upside down. Okay,
The back side of the one on the left. Maybe that's better.
this one?
No, that's okay. You're my left.
Okay. Who wants the heel? Because it's going to be a little bigger slice.
Doesn't matter. Kayla
I'll
says
take it.
she'll take it.
Okay. Ooh, it's still pretty hot. There you go, kiddo. And that Julie wants a good slice.
I know, right?
It's still sweet.
Squishy.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
I've never
yeah.
had it when it's still warm.
Oh, that's cute. I'm surprised.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna get
So
it.
good. There's a butter knife right there.
Oh, if you could just smell it. Oh
There you go.
gosh. Yum.
There you go. Dad's gonna have one too. Okay, Julie,
Thank you.
let me have one of those. And
Mhm.
I'll have one of those. I'll put some take them all. Wouldn't be any good without butter. Well, it would be good. Somebody outside had it made. They had it with just no butter at all. They said it doesn't need anything. It didn't need anything at all.
They wouldn't
It was
do
one of the gals that you play strip dominoes with.
Yeah. I need a video camera. A video camera.
He's chuckling to beat the man over here.